While most sections still have tickets available, it looks like it's going to be a stronger crowd compared to the before the dirt, where there were many empty seats. So, Joe and Jackson, considering the efforts for bringing back Nashville, North Wilkesboro is back with a different schedule and TV agreement. Could Bristol risk dropping to one day?
This is a hard question. I feel ever since 2007, when Bristol got reconfigured with the progressive banking, we saw a different type of Bristol where we had multi-groove racing, side-by-side racing. You didn't need the beating and bang like the past, but that was not the character fans especially loved the Bristol, the beating, the banging, the hot tempers. We know then they changed it to where it's now again all one banking, but we just still see that outside line just work its magic, get to become the preferred groove, and you have the side by side of the low and the high groove. So I think it's a lot of work to get Bristol to pre 2007. Even if you do that, will we guarantee the old crowds, the long waiting list to get a ticket into Bristol? I just don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, we know how consumer behaviors have changed. The sporting market all across the United States has changed a lot. I think it's just very competitive. And Bristol's in a rural area where you don't exactly have hotels all across I-5, interstate access, I-90 over there. So it's a challenge. It's such a big facility, great facility from where it started out as. I just think, if we have a good crowd turnout, hey, that's great. A good product will make it better. Will we get to the point where you're going to have like a long years, multiple year waiting list for a seat? I don't know, but as long as they can rebuild on a momentum, that's a huge win, I feel.
Yeah, Bristol is tough. It's hard to say that you're going to take a date away from Bristol. It's kind of up there in that tier with like, the Darlingtons, the Daytonas, the Talladegas. It feels untouchable. But when you take a step back and like Joe, like you were saying, it's nearly in the middle of nowhere. And that's certainly not the direction that NASCAR is headed in. And like, me personally, if I'm looking at the list of races I want to go to, Bristol's not near the top of the list because of the difficulty of getting there. And it's also not the spring race, particularly, is not near the top of that list. I think the fall race being the first elimination race, that is a great spot. I think the playoff atmosphere is kind of maybe carrying that fall Bristol race a little bit at this point. So I guess, it sounds crazy, but I would not be surprised, maybe not next year, maybe not the year after, but, 3 to 5 years down the line, if we do lose a Bristol race in favor of, Nashville, or if the Fontana short track ever comes back. I think that's possible. I think people would be shocked, but also, it would make sense.
It makes sense. And you brought up a good point with the spring race. The weather the last few years, rain, not good. It's cloudy, no forecast rain, but if that changes, here we go again.
I would say even more than just the last few years. I've as in my memory, there's not a lot of spring Bristol race to remember because a lot of that's a Monday race. That's a rain impacted race. Those are always, it's not the same as the fall. I think, yeah, for sure.